Joy. Joy is the inner sense of being in a proper relationship with God. Great joy comes from doing the will of God. After the death of Stephen, the first martyr after the crucifixion of Jesus, the early church faced mass persecutions. Even in the face of imprisonment and death, the people of the early Christian movement rejoiced in the gospel as proclaimed by the apostles. The Holy Spirit then moved the church outward, and the Spirit caused joy as the church spreads out and increased in numbers. Our psalm for this morning repeats this message. It says this: "Let all the earth cry out to God with joy." Joy is the natural feeling of those who experience the great actions of God. Joy is different than happiness. Joy is a feeling of knowing one is in touch with God. In our gospel, Jesus speaks about doing the will of his Father. Doing his Father's will is a food that nourishes Jesus. Jesus then becomes our food through the Holy Eucharist. The Holy Eucharist is the food that will end our hunger and quench our thirsts. Joy comes to those who seek a relationship with God. Joy is not frivolous, and it is not without guidelines or giddiness. It is a sense of inner peace. Even in the midst of the most challenging events in our lives, a follower of Jesus has a sense of fulfillment. Many people today face life-threatening illnesses. Many people have suffered in conflicts with other countries throughout history. Others are going through family problems. Still others are dealing with financial difficulties. Some are dealing with changes in jobs. Some families are suffering the loss of a loved one. There is one thing that gets them through the trying times. That is their faith in Jesus. They realize without their close relationship with God and the strength they receive from their friends who are praying for them, they would not be able to handle the pressures in their lives. Jesus is the bread of life. The source of life comes from being fed by him. No matter how difficult things are now, it would be a lot worse in the next life without a relationship with Jesus. In Romans, in the New Testament, chapter 8, clauses 35 to 39, St. Paul wrote this: "Who will separate us from the love of Christ? Will hardship or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? No. In all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, nor angels nor rulers, nor things present nor things to come will be able to separate us from the love of God." The only thing that can separate us from God is our choice of refusing a relationship with God. That is ultimately the only thing that will prevent us from experiencing the joy that comes from God. And sadly say, that's our choosing. No problems, no difficulties, no challenges, nor any other happening will stop God from loving us. And with God loving us, we can cry out to God with that inner joy and peace that surpasses all human understanding.